This is pickup artistry on steroids in a way, actually picking up women by doing that. It's very, very interesting. Hi everyone, this is Sam Qurashi. I used to be a psychiatric resident in an addiction hospital, and now I'm on YouTube. My producer is basically recommending and suggesting videos for me to watch. The series right now is Strange Addiction. I don't know if we're still going to be watching Strange Addiction or something else, but it's just going to be something for me to watch and react to, and you're going to hear my thoughts on it, so let's see what happens. I did not see that one coming. Okay. You know, after watching several videos, I actually thought that I've seen it all. Apparently not.
My name is Kevin. I'm 27 years old. I live in a suburb of Chicago.
I don't have any broken bones.
But I'm addicted to putting orthopedic casts on my body. Casting is putting a cast on myself. I'm perfectly fine, perfectly healthy. I like the feeling of the cast around me. I've done like 2 full arm casts, 2 full leg casts. I've done 2 full leg casts and an arm cast. I've put on so many different casts, it's ridiculous. What I love about casting is it just feels so amazing and so snug and so comfortable. It gives me like this high that I just can't really get any other way.
The pressure on the body, the proprioceptive effect on the body, creates a stimulation that affects the biochemical reactions in the body. It changes your biochemistry. It triggers your parasympathetic nervous system. It makes you more relaxed. And I think what he's doing is he's creating a 24/7 pressure that he created for himself that is triggering that effect, that biochemical reaction, that neurological reaction for his parasympathetic nervous system. And it's kind of interesting because it feels good. It feels so good. Now, what triggered it, again, would be my question. When did that start? How old was he when he started? I'm sure he's going to get into that. How's that affecting his life? I'm sure he's going to get into that too.
At about 6 or 7 years old, I used to steal all of my parents' toilet paper and I used to wrap up my legs in toilet paper to mimic a cast. When I was 12 years old, I broke my arm rollerblading and I got my first cast. I got a lot of attention with a cast on. And it's just kind of been an ongoing process ever since then.
So for him, it's also about seeking attention. And he mentioned that it was at a certain age. So the question is, what happened? Now, he did say that he was basically starting to wrap toilet paper, and it creates that protective visual representation of protection because he sees himself surrounded by things. But it's also that sensation. And I don't think, I would be interested to hear, I mean, if he's going to dive deeper into it, I'd love to hear what he has to say about that. I think there's more to that because there has to be a reason for him to start that. It could have been a coincidence, but most of the time it isn't.
Man, I've been waiting for this all week. When it comes to ordering the materials, even that I kind of get like jumpy about because it's like, all right, you know, you're gonna order them and you're actually gonna use them. I don't remember what I ordered. Can't wait to build a huge cast out of this stuff.
This reminds me of a kid anticipating receiving a package where you know, parts of a particular model or a plane is there, and he now can break it apart and then start to actually stick it together, stitch it together, and glue it together and build it. There's so much power in creating something from nothing. And in this case, it's creating something from something. It's just that it's broken pieces that he brings it together. A lot of people love bringing things together, piecing things together, solving jigsaw puzzles. Putting together IKEA closets, and this is kind of in that realm, which is quite interesting.
This is like happy birthday, Thanksgiving, Christmas, everything in one. I definitely...
One more thing to touch upon. One thing that I'm concerned about is how is that limiting does he work? Is that limiting his job? Is that limiting his ability? Is it giving him advantages beyond the things that he mentioned? Because it is limiting. It feels good, but he can't move as fast. He can't play sports. He can't probably go out comfortably. It's hard for him to drive. So there are a lot of restrictions. Now, the fact that this feels so good that he's willing to have these restrictions. My question is, what are the restrictions that he is very aware of? Because some of these may not be the case. He may not have a car. He may have friends that drive him around. He may not like going out. He may be a massive introvert. He just wants to stay at home, and it's okay for him to just stay at home and watch TV all day. He may not have friends. His friends may be so understanding that they just hang out at his place. So there's so many different ways of looking at this. Wow.
You never know when there's just gonna be a need to put on a cast.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Probably not the best way to do it in the car. It's not the best circumstances, but when you're casting on the fly, you just gotta take what you got. It just screams attention. I can't wait to go into the bar and show off this new cast.
I'm amazed at how fast he puts on a cast from scratch. And he just answered my question in terms of the limitation. So apparently he's so good at putting it on and taking it off, removing it, that he does it so many times. I'm interested to know how many times does he do it, because apparently it doesn't limit him, because he makes sure that he wears the cast in a way to not restrict the functions or the things that he wants to do, including driving.
I sometimes do pretend like I'm injured, and that all goes with the story and how I try to draw people in.
Attention.
I was in the subway and this guy tried to steal my wallet out of my back pocket, and I just quick right hook, boom. Girls are constantly coming up to me and like, oh, what did you do? Oh, you poor thing. It's a fake cast. I mean, it's a real cast, but my arm's not broken.
There's something to be said about lying, because he's lying. Now, if he's just making it up and then he tells them, actually, I'm kidding, that's fine. But no matter how playful you are, the lies you tell create a reality you need to live up to. Eventually, if you have to keep talking to the person you lie to, it's a lot harder to keep the lie going than to tell the truth. It's such a relief. You don't have to think and calculate. This is one of the problems that lying does, because lying kind of creates this subclinical anxiety state. And there are different things that can create that, but that's one of them, constantly lying. But for somebody to constantly lie about different things, it's going to stack up, it's going to build up, it's going to accumulate, and it's going to constantly cause the anxiety of being outed, the anxiety of being exposed, the anxiety of being rejected, or the consequences of exposure. And there's so many, one of them being rejection. But the real problem here is by constantly lying, there's also a sense of guilt as well attached to it. Even if you're not conscious of it, there is an element of guilt. You can be like, I don't feel guilty. Well, on an unconscious level, you do, because you are human. And there are emotions that are triggered based on the way you communicate with other people, whether you are conscious of it or not.
Most of my friends know about my addiction to casting. Obviously, at first, when I first told them about it, they were like, this is just weird.
What bothers me about it is I have to get him into the car because he can't turn, he can't move, he can't even go to the bathroom by himself.
Casting has definitely affected my relationships. I broke up with my fiance. She couldn't stand the casting anymore. She just thought it was too weird. This cast addiction is really wreaking havoc over my relationships.
So what is he hiding? Because a cast is a way to kind of cover something you don't want other people to see. Insecurities, flaws, or perceived flaws. Because a lot of people talk about their flaws when they're not actually flaws, they're perceived flaws. They're flaws you've been taught to see as flaws. There may be qualities that you've been taught to see as flaws. So in his case, what he's doing is what comes to mind is he's hiding something. It's not just about protection in general. It's about protecting a truth from coming out. That is a possibility. And that would be something that I would explore in a session with him.
You know, frankly, I don't see a point why I need to stop. This is part of who I am, and I just don't feel like there's a need to hide it anymore, especially since it's such a cool, unique thing. My girlfriend, Samantha, I think we kind of have a chemistry together.
Tonight we're gonna go on a date, and I'm praying that he doesn't have a cast on. I think we need to talk. I really care about you, and the cast thing, I can't comprehend it. and I can't like wrap my head around it. It's a blockade for our relationship. When people see me with him, it's embarrassing. My friends and family, they're asking me, they're like, so why does Kevin wear a cast all the time?
But what if I just like were to talk to him?
I don't understand it. My parents, they won't understand it. I mean, it's always in the way. It's always your number one obsession. I want to be your number one obsession.
It's just the tone of her voice. She was so disappointed and so angry at the same time. She's yelling at me.
Obviously, she's angry, and it's very understandable. That's definitely not helping. She can share how she feels in a more productive way by kind of not necessarily protecting him, but showing a bit of, and I think we touched upon it in a previous video, especially for therapists, but even people, family members, especially with something like this. This is not a drug addiction. This is just an addiction, a behavioral addiction that may affect certain people in that person's life. So when you are talking to someone that has such a behavior and they have reasons behind it, understanding it is very important. Being patient, because the thing is, they're going to shut down if you're just talking to them in a way that makes them feel uncomfortable. Like, what is this addiction? Or what is this behavior? Why are you doing this? With my facial expression, I'm also implying that I believe it's wrong, I believe it's inappropriate, and I'm not showing you that I'm understanding. I'm telling you through words that I'm trying to understand, but the way I'm conveying through my nonverbals is, I really don't care about your explanation. I just want to figure out a way to get you out of this ridiculous behavior. And automatically, I'm distancing myself from you, automatically, because if I'm talking to him that way, he's going to be detached. Whether I'm a friend or a therapist, it doesn't matter. We need to approach people in a better way. We need to respect their decisions and their choices, and we need to accept it, at least temporarily, in order to understand it, in order for us to connect with them long enough for them to trust us so that they can listen to us. But we need to listen to them first, because they're the ones that are insecure about that behavior, because they can see how people are looking at them. They can see what's happening, and they're very sensitive. So it's very important to, in a way, walk on eggshells, but not in a submissive way, but in a way out of concern for the person rather than fearing the person, if that makes sense. So in her situation, she's reacting, I get it. But if you really want to work this out, it's important to kind of be, in a way, supportive, but not supportive of the behavior, but supportive of whatever they're deciding, but at the same time, learning about it. And then telling him how you feel in a way that doesn't make them feel that you are repulsed, because that will detach them. Even if it is a repulsing behavior, not saying that this is, but I'm saying even if the behavior is repulsive, making the person feel that is not going to trigger enough pain for them to stop. It's just going to make them resent you. It's going to make them detach from you. And now the chances of them stopping it will drop. They're going to get more stubborn in the process. It's not going to be helpful. So in her situation, it just makes a lot more sense for her to be more understanding. And she's not, because of the way she's reacting. And I get where she's coming from. But the real question is, what does she want? Does she just want to vent and for him to understand exactly how she feels in an emotional way, which doesn't serve any form of negotiation? Or does she actually want this to be does she actually want this to work out?
I mean, is this something that you want to keep doing?
I mean, it's a big part of me, you know?
I can't push this further if you're wearing a cast. Like, I'm kind of over it.
What if I like stop, or like not stop, but slow down? Maybe just do it every couple months.
I mean, you didn't stop for anyone else. You didn't stop for your ex. What makes you think that, now is the time that you're gonna stop for me? I want to see the cast gone.
She said I gotta choose her or the casting. Stopping casting would be like me trying to cut off my own arm. It's my life. It's who I am. It's part of me.
This is a golden moment right now, because this touches upon things that I've mentioned previously. The behavior became part of the identity, and it's not part of the identity, but once you perceive what you do as who you are, it's hard to break free. Now, what's interesting about it is he's actually willing to communicate with her and negotiate and talk to her about the idea. He's actually talking to her. He's negotiating. He loves her. He wants to spend time with her. And she's pushing it instead of kind of realizing what's happening right now. He's telling her indirectly that you matter to me so much that I'm willing to let go of this temporarily or to do it less frequently. That's progress. And that shows that it's possible for him to stop it. It's possible for anybody to stop a behavior, just to be clear. But when the person is willing to compromise and to minimize the behavior or the frequency of the behavior, that is a strong sign that the person cares about you and is willing to do it and is more likely to stop eventually. And to him saying that it's part of me, I completely understand. But one of the ways to stop a behavior is to, and I mentioned this before, is to reach a realization that what you do is not who you are, which means that if you stop it, you're not chopping off an arm.
Man, I don't even know what I'm gonna do now. When I don't have a cast on, I feel like I'm nobody. Like a part of me is missing. So one of the things I've always wanted to do is a double arm spica, where both my arms are, you know, up like this and they're attached to my torso. This is like a dream come true. I gotta do it. Feels amazing. I could like launch it like a brick wall and I just bust right through it. Yeah.
It's a prop. It's a conversational starter. It's a way to get people's attention. It's a way to get people to come to you. It's a way to seek sympathy, empathy. It's a way to seek attention.
I can't wait to see people's reactions.
Attention. When you want people's reaction, you want their attention.
I'm walking down Michigan Avenue in downtown Chicago. There's all kinds of people walking all over the place. There's all kinds of traffic, people waving, people looking at me. This cast is definitely everything I've expected it to be.
I'm really hoping my girlfriend won't be mad at me.
She will. That may end the relationship simply because he exaggerated. I mean, she was asking him to stop. He was basically negotiating. And one thing about the negotiation, just to be clear, it's important to not create a defining moment for the person that has a behavior that they feel that they're not in control of. You either stop the behavior you're not in control of, or you lose me. Giving them that ultimatum is not really helpful. But kind of find a way to minimize the behavior, maintain the behavior in a way that doesn't affect the relationship, especially if it's not a behavior that is harming them. They're not harming themselves or harming others with that behavior, of course. That's the golden rule. If what you're doing doesn't harm others, doesn't harm you, then, then that's basically something to basically touch upon. And not, that's the most important thing for me. Doesn't harm you, doesn't harm someone else, okay. She told him what she wanted, and he said, well, I'd want to stop. I can minimize it. And then he went on to doing the extreme opposite of what he said, which automatically discredits everything he said about wanting to negotiate. And that basically hurts the entire negotiation. And it proves to her that he doesn't mean what he said, and it proves to her that he doesn't care about her. So the chances of her walking out will be much, much higher after this. I hope you enjoyed watching this. And if you did enjoy it, please do like and subscribe. Make sure you do that. And on top of that, if you have any suggestions, any videos you'd want me to comment on or watch and react to, please mention it in the comment section below. And I wish you an amazing morning, evening, afternoon, night, wherever you are. Bye for now.